Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman Rahim here. Let's slay some demons. My previous video, I looked at it and I decided I should do a follow-up with more details. I think it warrants more details because there's a lot of things that was said and I jumped over a lot of things. And I'm still not going to deal with all the particulars, all the details, because it's just a lot of information and it could take quite some time, 2 days more, and that's more than a presentation. That's a class. So I'm going to try to give this a little more detail, a little more clarity. Hopefully you'll understand, because what we're doing here is we're marrying, converging Exodus and Injil. Because the Exodus is a very clear timeline of our situation compared, with considering the Abrahamic covenant. Everything surrounds the Abrahamic covenant. Exodus is fulfillment of that covenant. And so it warrants maybe more careful or more detailed presentation, because this is dealing with our time right now. And the other purpose was, as far as the angel is concerned, sisters and brothers, the angel is your light. That is the light that will get us, you, through the darkness. It is the light. The more you study it, the more you understand it, the brighter your light will be. Those who do not study it, they will be in darkness, because the angel is your light. It's not a light, it is the light. And you must study it to have that light. Like the story of the 10 virgins. See, there was those that maintained their light and those that didn't. And then when the time came, the ones that didn't found themselves in darkness. So I can't emphasize that enough. The angel is the light. The angel is not the light. Your knowledge of the angel is the light. Your knowledge of the angel is the light. Now, I've given you the light. Someone had to unlock the light, release the light. Now it's up to you to get that light now that it is available. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Now there will be some who consider themselves followers, blind, who they hitch, their wagon to someone they believe that can see. That is very dangerous, because there could be a lot of people like that. See, but when that light goes out, you won't know who can see or not if you're blind. And so when you hitch your wagon up to the person that you think you can see, you don't know if they can see or not. You're lucky. Maybe you get lucky and hitch it up to the right person, but you won't know. See, you won't know. That's dangerous. I'm a follower. You have many followers of Elijah Muhammad, right? They took no interest in the light that Elijah Muhammad presented. So when Elijah Muhammad disappeared, departed, they were left in darkness. And so what happened, right? They started trying to hitch their wagons up to someone they thought that could see, because they couldn't see. And so they got tricked by a Khan, because he can't see either. He's walking around with a cane feeling his way around. See? But he's telling them that he can see, and he cannot. So that's the danger of being a follower. Like I've said from the very beginning, I'm not looking for followers. The light is present, brothers and sisters, but it's not a light unless you turn it on. You have to open your eyes. I can't open it for you. It's up to you. So the more you study, the brighter your light will be. But it's going to be, the darkness is dark now. Those of you who are eyes becoming open, you see how dark it is. You didn't realize how dark it was until you start seeing the angel, and you see how dark, it's really dark right now. And it's going to get much darker. Only those who've been studying can appreciate it, because now they can start saying, wow, man, they can start seeing what the scripture is really saying. Okay, so we're going to move into the presentation. It's rather lengthy, but we'll see what happens. Now, before I go there, I want to talk about, lay out a certain understanding. The balance. Mathematics is all about balance. One side equal sign, other side equal sign. One side should equal the other side. But there's was not an exception. Well, let me just explain it. The universe expands and contracts. So it goes from positives to a negative. Then between, before it goes from positive to negative, it has to go through zero. Right? You understand that? See? So if you going down to, you're going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then you have to go to zero before you go to negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. To get to zero to get to the other side. So the universe on the positive side, see, in this expansion, but it's going down lower and lower and lower. It's positive going one negative. So it starts at like a million, then it starts like 10, then 9, 8, because it started out positive, and it got more and more because it's moving into tension, period state of tension. So it started at positive 5, it's going down, 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 till it gets to zero. That's at the point, right? Basically, we're in that situation now. It gets to zero, because all the energy is out there now. So it's at zero, maximum tension. See, zero is maximum tension. See? And then it starts contracting again. Then it starts going from 0 to 1, 2, 3, back up to 5 again. Have to understand that principle. See? So that corresponds to how much energy there is on the planet. So at first, right, say energy was level 5, or lots of energy. Then it went down to level 4, now level 3, level 2, level 1, level 0. Energy deprivation. See, on the earth, because all energy is out there now. See, at first, the energy was 5 on the earth. Then it went down to 4. Then it went down to 3, because we take the energy to create the heavens and the earth. I mean, heavens, right? So it gets down to 0. Energy deprivation, no energy at all. So this is 0. Then it starts contracting again. See? So then it starts contracting. So it starts going from 0 to 1 to back up again. Energy starts coming back. See? Okay. So as we talked about the creation as far as the analytical and the spatial, the technical and the creative. Okay. So we kept the analytical under control for trillions of years, approximately 76 trillion years. See? But it gets stronger and stronger and stronger as the universe expands, because we have less and less energy, right, to control it. So we see when it got down to 0, we had no energy to control it, so now it starts asserting itself. See, 35,000 years ago, it started asserting itself, right? So you have this concept of leverage. Leverage means what you see on the left side here, right? Okay. When you see the one on the left, the top left, that's at the point of the negative. As you move in, get more and more negative. That means the leverage, see, the analytical mind, Yaku's grafted, devil's right, they have leverage. So in other words, things are more in their favor because see, that's the balance at that point. That thing on the bottom is called, slipped my mind just that quick. Anyway, it'll come back to me, right? A fulcrum, right? So if you put it there, and that where it is, that means that's the balance. So if two people have equal weight, right, then they may have equal weight, but the one on the left is going to have advantage because the fulcrum's in his favor towards the negative. So you have an advantage over the other one. That's happened during Dr. Yaqub's 6,000 years. He had advantage over us, see, because they had more energy than we did. They didn't know they didn't have any more energy than we did. They just didn't need as much as we did. So we had the same amount of energy, but they didn't need as much. So they had what they call it uh, when you money, like we have what they call it, income. I forget the term they use, right? Disposable income, right? So if I'm driving around a Lamborghini and he's driving around a Volkswagen Beetle, we make the same amount of money, right? Then all my money may have to require to maintain that Lamborghini, so I can't drive it. I keep it in the garage. Maybe I can drive it once a week. He can drive over here. That means he has power to rule now because he doesn't need as much energy. He's stripped down version of us. See, so he don't like it's like having a car. You don't have any power windows, power steering, no windshield. You don't have none of that stuff. See, stripped down version. He don't need as much energy as we do. So that's what that is all about. So he has an advantage. Now you see the one in the middle there. That's where we are now. See, the one before that, that's what the Christians call the age of grace. Why? Because the consequence, they didn't suffer as much. They didn't. In other words, they could do things to get away with it because the consequence was in their favor. That's why you have this statement in the Quran. It's an unusual statement. It says, "Oh, you believe, spit out what we've given you, but there comes which there's no bargain, no friendship, no intercession, and the disbelievers, they are the ones." Say, listen to that carefully. And the disbelievers are the ones. In other words, they weren't the wrongdoers before that. They weren't the wrongdoers before that. See, at that point, they're the wrongdoers because the balance is against them now. That's why it says we take Adam and we'll let him rule, but he's ruled, make mission shed blood. So if you're going to give him rule, that means you're going to bless him, you're going to support him, even though he's making mission shed blood. That's what that means. See? But now we're at the point where the balance is equal. That's the judgment, time of consequence. See, justice. You see, the God of consequence is on the scene. See, so now they pay a price for all the wrongdoing they was doing. See, now the disbelievers are the wrongdoers. That's now they're wrongdoers because now they pay a price. Everything backfires on them now. So I'm talking about this backfire. See, but they don't have any advantage over us anymore. Only advantage they have over us right now is our ignorance. I would say my people are lost for lack of knowledge, only our ignorance. See, because they have no power over us anymore because it's balance. See, that's the judgment. See, at that point. See? And what's on the bottom there? Okay, the bottom there, right, is the age of mercy. What does it say in the Quran? It says, I ordain mercy. So Allah says He ordained mercy for Himself. What does that mean? He ordained mercy for Himself. That's a curious thing. Allah said He ordained mercy for Himself, because now it's in our favor. And hereafter, once this judgment, everything's over, right? Energy levels now in our favor, and so we have more energy and more energy. So even our flaws and stuff, you know, are covered over. I would say, though your sins were black as snow, or black as night or midnight or whatever, it'd be white as snow. Because now age of mercy. See, that's part of the reason why we can't allow any demons or devils to get in there. Because they get in there, then they could do all this damage, and they get away with it. We have to clean the house before they let them in there. See? Because any flaws, anything you think you might have, it be covered over, and you just get better and better and better. You get blessings no matter what. That's why it's important. That's why we want to make sure He cleans the house thoroughly, see? Because that's the way it's going to be all the way up to the beginning again, till the universe totally contracts. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. Now, why am I talking about this? Because you need to understand how these things work. That's so you understand what the scripture's saying. See? You have to have complete, like I said earlier, I don't think maybe I didn't elaborate enough. You have to have complete faith in the angel, because that is your light. If you don't have any faith in the light, then what good is it? Okay, this idea of Antichrist. See? Now, every time everyone's born, right, they produce a double. You may not realize what you do. It depends on where you're on that scale, the power your double has. See? So on the top here, during that time of Yaku's grafted devils, when you're born, another person is born, that's your double somewhere on the planet, that's your anti, but in that case, he's much stronger than you. And everything that person does is causing you problems. You may never meet that person, see? But everything that person does, right? You may meet someone he's taught, or a friend of his, a family member, something, but or policies that he make, or a war he starts. Everything that person does is going to cause a problem for you. See? Now you get in the middle here. Now your double will be equal to you. So you can tell how powerful a person is, how powerful their double is. So they tell you how powerful Suleiman is because they call his enemies the Antichrist. And we know Antichrist is false Israel. And so all of them people together equal him, how powerful he is. Let me say this again. Now, when you have your double that you produce, it may not be one person, maybe five. So if you're a 10, then you may have two, maybe 5 plus a 5, or 1 plus a 9, right? Or 2 plus a 8. Or you may have a 1, if you made 5 ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Each one of them one has power of 1, but together they equal 5. So it come in any combination. See? Well, I was going to go into a little more math, but I'm not going to do that. So you understand? So some people, right? A king maybe, right? He may produce a whole country that's how powerful he is. That's his anti. So that's why they call Antichrist, which tell you how powerful Suleiman is, because it says when he came into existence, because this person comes into existence when you do. They're conceived the same time you're conceived. Okay? How many of it is? So you have, like I said, it could be a nation of people, it could be one individual, whatever. So we see that Suleiman and false Israel will be conceived at the same time in 1948, between April and May of 1948. So that shows you how powerful he is. Because it took a whole nation to be his anti. See? So I thought I'd point that out. Hope you understand that, see, the concept. See? But the good news is, brothers and sisters, like I said, though you're sin, that's why you hear Farrakhan talk, oh, you're so sinful and all that stuff, see? He don't even know what he's talking about. That's not Elijah Muhammad's teachings. Says that's not for us teaching. We're righteous people by nature. See? He's the sinful, he's the man of sin. See? So because he's a man of sin, he sees, that's what he sees as sin. That's what he sees as sin. So he pointing the finger at everybody else. See? So the thing is that the good news, brothers and sisters, once you make it hereafter, there's nothing but mercy and forgiveness for you. It's going to get better and better for you. See? So any perceived flaws that you think you have, you just get better and better. You're going to be blessings. There's not going to be any cursing or hurt or whipping or punishment hereafter for the believers. Not one. Not for the fruit for the seed of Abraham. Not any. That's what I'm trying to explain to you here, brothers and sisters. Okay, so let's move on. Now, this is 1948. I just talked about that, where false Israel and Suleiman came conceived at the same time. So, as I said, we're taking and we're combining. We're looking at Exodus. We're going to go through the timeline of Exodus, right, through the lens of the angel. That's what we're doing here. So we're starting our time in 1948, and we'll go all the way up to our deliverance, right? So we can start our timeline here, 1948. We could go back to 1930s when Farad came, but I don't think it's necessary to do that, right? So it's 1948, and this is a structure, right? Okay, now in chapter 12, we talk about this woman, right? Now, that top one, that's the woman up top, right? Where you see Farad and the demons, and the woman's corrupted. And it tells that half of the original nation has been corrupted through rape for 40 years. They're demons, they're masters' children. See, they're house Negroes. So it's been corrupted. Okay, so this is state of affairs at 1948, and we see Elijah there, right? The red ones that represents the African nation, right? We see the red ones there. Okay, so we see the parable about the wheat and the chaff, and it says the enemy sowed his seed, that's the chaff, amongst the wheat. But he was told not to separate them, not to harvest time. And Elijah Muhammad was supposed to minister to both of them, which he did. That's what you see right there. See? Most of this is angel language. You have to understand angel language. Okay, let's move on. Now here, we're going to talk about the mindset of our captors. Because we don't need the CIA, the FBI, and that stuff. Because the angel is our intelligence. It tells everything. It tells how they think. It reveals everything. And the more you study it, the more you learn. So it unlocks all the other scriptures. So here's a scripture right here which talks about, this is Exodus, right? And it's talking about their mindset, our captors. It says, look, the people of Israel, children of Israel, are more and mightier than we. See, notice they know they were stronger, more powerful. They know that. See? So comes still shrewdly with them. In other words, they got a plan that they ain't gonna let you know anything about shrewdly. They ain't gonna let you know anything about it. You ain't not gonna see it coming. Remember, it says it will come out as a snare. They have a snare set for you. It's telling you that. See? And it says because We're mightier, and there's more of us. And it's going to be more of us if we keep going. See? So, and if you understand democracy, democracy is all about population. And whoever the majority rules. And so it's telling you here that we're just multiplying like crazy. See? And so they got to stop that. Otherwise, they lose control of their country. See? So if you look at this policies, see, they keep talking about, oh, I don't like Trump because this, or I don't like whatever, you know. But I'm not into politics. I'm just explaining. See? What it's saying here. And what the policies is abortion. Keep your population down. Those are Democratic policies, Democratic Party policies. Abortion, that's one method, right? Okay. Another method is prison, and the crime bill, another Democratic Party, right? Put you in jail for almost nothing, right? See? For long periods of time, three-strike laws. You can't produce children in prison. See? Then the third one is jobs. It's now your jobs overseas. So now you don't have any jobs, right? Or if you have a job, you're not making that much money, right? So now you can't afford to have any children. You see the pattern there? See, get the picture. Do you get it? See? So in this particular verse here, you can go and look it up, right? It talks about all that. It talks about abortion, trying to kill them. It talks about, right, jobs. This is, see, you got, the angel is beautiful. The way it's characterized here, it says, well, let them, see, this because this is, yeah, I'm not going to detail, but this is a reaction to Moses. So to read the whole thing, they're saying because they listened to Moses, now he's implementing this. In other words, this reacts to Elijah Muhammad coming and showing that we are true seed of Abraham and to separate us what they don't want. Because as they said, that was part of the thing here. The whole one thing saying, if there's a war, they might fight against us. See, because now they know who they are. This reacts to that. See? So when you go in there, it talks about, as I said, the jobs, immigration policies to bring immigrants over here. Not dark ones now. If that was Haiti was on the southern border, they would be bringing them in here. So war is one of the things, you know, to get rid of the war. If everything has failed, you know, get into a war where they can draft you and get rid of you. See? But talk about this thing about straw. Because the question was, see, first that they don't want us, but they don't want us to leave either. Afraid we'll leave. But there's another thing in there that most people are not paying attention, when no one's paying attention to, I know about. They said, okay, because they need us because of our creativity. See, they're technicians. Technicians can do nothing without blueprints, some idea. Somebody has to give them an idea, or they just sitting there. They don't know what to do. They're technical, but you got to give them something to work with. Give them ideas so they can put their technical abilities to, see, they the is, but we the be. So you have to pay close attention to get this one. Because it's all there. He says, what he says? He says, remember this reaction to Elijah Muhammad. He says, well, they was making bricks, so see, that was fine. They was using our labor before, right? Remember, this whole they got real look at this kid. They was using our labor before. Doing so-called slaves, that labor, right? But now they say, okay, I want to still make bricks. I'm not giving no straw to make bricks. I still want them to make them bricks though. Now, how do you do that if you have no straw? You have to be creative. See, they tell you your creativity. They want your creativity now. It's all there, brothers and sisters. See, they want our creativity. But if they can't control us, they'd rather get rid of us. They're not going to take and walk around with one eye with one eye open, one eye closed. You understand why we use it, while our creativity, we use our creativity after the same way Elijah Muhammad would do to take control of them. So they'll use much of our creativity as they can, but if they can't control us and keep us under control, then they'll just get rid of us. So those are things happening in this. See, abortion, throw them in the war, your jobs, see, because hey, that's what help. Hey, they jobs still make bricks when you have no jobs. So now you got to be creative. It's all there. Okay. See, so that tells you their mindset. So that makes you understand more about what they're doing and why they're doing things they're doing. That's their mindset. They don't love you. They need us for our creativity. Because they're the analytical side of the brain, we're the spatial side. They need us for our creativity. See? But they know what they've done to us, and they're afraid that we might take revenge. But they don't want us to overpopulate them, because therefore we control them. Then they don't want that, because that's their democracy. They have to get rid of their democracy on that case, in that situation. See, so they have to have abortion, keep them. And right now, blacks are suffering pretty close to negative population growth, because I'm not sure if it's across the country, but I know in New York, more children are being aborted, more black children being aborted than being born. That's negative population growth. At that rate, there won't be any. See? But they said we kept being populated, we kept going, going anyway. So they got to figure out a way to stop it. That is an existential threat, brothers and sisters, in the population. They can't come out and tell you that. See? And part of the reason why they're mad at Trump and got you all messed up, because either ignorantly or he don't know any better or whatever, he's reversing all those policies. Now, I mean, the Republicans, they got a plan too. They got a different plan, but they got a plan to get rid of us. They got the same agenda, different approaches. See, their plan is mostly the war part. See, so understand that, brothers and sisters. See, so they got, and these demons, they the ones. Remember, they have the same mindset, even though they may have a dark complexion. They have the mind. Remember, they're the seed of their master. They have the same mindset. They have the same brain construct. You understand that? Just because you get hung up on this skin tone thing. German Shepherd looks like a wolf, but they're not the same. Well, they're pretty close, but they're not the same. See? But you get hung up on this, this skin tone thing, right? You are whatever your father is. See, they're demons. Okay. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Now we're still following Exodus, right? So now we're in 1975. So we started in 1948. Now we're in 1975, right? Now 1975, that was a major event, because it talks about in the Bible, says, I will take the shepherd away and the sheep shall go astray. That's talking about Elijah. I shall smite the shepherd, right? Sheep will go astray, right? Also talking about the son of perdition. Also in Exodus, remember, Moses goes away, goes back up to the mountain sea, right? See Farad. And when he leaves, Aaron is left in charge. See? And we know the story, Aaron messed everything up. Now, they don't want to talk about that. See? That's the scripture. When it comes to that, oh, well, the scripture's contorted and it's corrupt and everything. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't subscribe to that nonsense here. Scripture, we don't believe in that. But we do have problems with translations. Elijah, how many have problems with translation? Because you have to translate every taste. See? Then we use the transliteral as far as angel concerned. But you can get translators of the whole, also called in the Old Testament. In fact, you can go online and Strong's, STRONG, possibly as Strong's Concordance, right? That's fairly good, right? Because the concordance, they actually break down every word. It's not like a smooth translation. They actually just, tell you, origin every word and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to study this, I used to study that before I got a translator, right? And the best translator out there, as far as I'm concerned, is the Jehovah's Witness version. You go to their site, the jw.com, I believe it is, and they have it's free translator version of the so-called New Testament. And you cannot understand, you cannot get anywhere with the angel unless you got the translator. Translator, they change word. Just translate the word. They don't try to translate the sin, try to figure out what it means, anything. Just translate the word. See? King James Version, they translate their understanding of it. Okay, so here we are in 1975. This construct right here, right? See? So what happens is that Elijah's taken away. So let's go see what happens there. Well, before I go, Elijah's taken away. See? He's teaching, and he departs. See? So we're going to look at that and see how that works out. Let's walk through it, and then I should have something to say on the back end. Okay. Okay, here. Okay, this is 1975, right? Elijah departs, goes back up to the mountain, right? And so there's no one left in charge of the NOI. See? Because whilst in Farrakhan, they got rid of the NOI. They tossed it, they buried it, they stomped on it, spit on it. Now it was the end of it. That was supposed to officially be the end of the NOI. That was officially supposed to be the end of the NOI. They started a new thing called rebellions, and it was Sunni orientated. They destroyed all of Elijah Muhammad's teachings. In fact, Farrakhan denounced Elijah Muhammad. He don't want to talk about it now. He denounced him. Wallace had been denounced all the time. In fact, Wallace wasn't even a member in good standing at the time Elijah Muhammad departed. In fact, he was actually banned. He was banned, so exiled. So how he got in charge, you ask me. Don't ask me, because yeah, how did he get in charge? Because Farrakhan was the so-called spokesman. He should have been the one. But see, Farrakhan's a coward. I always say he's a coward. That's just a little diversion here. That's why they got rid of Malcolm. See, they set Malcolm up because they knew they were expecting Elijah Muhammad was sick. He was very sick. He was sick a lot, right? And they expected he was going to die. And they knew if Malcolm was in charge, the spokesman, they could never have taken away from Malcolm. It was not in a million years. Now, I'm not excusing what Malcolm did at all, right? He allowed himself to be deceived. That's his problem. But that's why they had to get rid of him, because they knew no way in the world they was going to take it away from him. See, because he was like when he was a gangster. They used to call him Satan in prison. Nobody messed with Malcolm. But Farrakhan, he's a tootie poo. They know he Farrakhan, man. When the message was here, and like during theology time, he used to come to Chicago. I was security. I'm right there, right next to the messenger within feet of him. And every time the messenger talked, every time he take a breath, he's a hollering, screaming, say, "Let's fly like a little bitch." And I used to get mad. A lot of people get mad because you can hear what the messenger was saying, because he kept going. He was howling, screaming like a little bitch. He's a coward. And then once Elijah Muhammad departed, what he did? He ran away. He claims, if the wolf comes, he's going to take. If the wolf comes, if the wolf did come, then what did he do? Did he stand for the sheep? No, he didn't stand for the sheep. He didn't stand for them. See? He threw them to the wolves. and ran him behind Massa. See, he let Wallace use him because he had standing because he was national spokesman. They used him to get control of all that money and everything. And he went along with that because he thought he was going to get something. They threw him in, they didn't give him nothing. They threw him into the curb, over the curb like two-bit whore. They didn't give him anything. He said it was broke because they didn't give him anything. He thought he was going to get something. They used him. He's been used. The man's stupid. He falls for every little scheme that comes along. He fell for Obama, right? He was telling everybody Obama dissed him, right? He fell for Sharpton, all those guys, and they dissed him, right? Every time someone has been celebrity comes up, right? And, I'm in bad shape. Right? He give money. The sister's money. That's where he gets money from, aside from the devil, because he's working for them. They pay him. He got a salary from them, and he gets salary from Saudi Arabia, you know. But he these sisters, they do all this fundraising for him and everything. I mean, messing up like that. These sisters go out and do stuff like that. He pimping these sisters. He's talking about sisters all the time. He's pimping them. And so he gives their hard-earned money to these has-been clowns that shows up. Oh, Berg, I'm in trouble. And then once they get on their feet, they diss him. Man's a clown. Anyway, so Elijah departs, and the nation of Islam has no leadership, right? So that's the falling away. First, it talks about that's the falling away. Because there was no leadership. They had no. What else was going to do? They fell apart. You had some minister that tried to hold together, like Silas and so. I gave him credit for that, but now he's off the page. See, but that's what happened. See, and so what Farrakhan did, he ran and hid behind Massa, and all the other people that claimed that was Elijah Muhammad's relatives and carrying on, Ishmael's mom and everything. They ran here. They left the country. They was in Mexico. How was they living in Mexico? They wasn't working out there. They took all the money. They grabbed it, get their hands on it. They was out. They wasn't following Elijah Muhammad. Ishmael tell you he was out there smoking dope. So that's 1975. Okay. So we see here Elijah departs, right? And there's no leadership, right? So the Nation of Islam falls. No, that's what it's talking about in chapter 12. It says, a woman, she flees to the wilderness. That's what it's talking about. That's chapter 12 in the angel. That's what happened. That's the falling away. There's no leadership. I mean, there was nothing. There was nothing to hold together. There was no official Nation of Islam at all. It's all gone. They got rid of everything. I was a foreman at Muhammad Speak newspaper. They got rid of paper. They got rid of all the businesses. They got rid of everything. Farrakhan said, "Oh, he done. He done." No, Farrakhan done a damn thing. He hasn't. He hasn't produced nothing in 42 years. See, they got rid of everything, and he does talk about the thousands and tens of thousands of people's lives he ruined. Because I was, for one, I was totally, I was totally immersed in Nation of Islam. I worked for the Nation of Islam. I financed my car through the Nation of Islam Bank, right? I lived in Nation of Islam housing. I shopped at Nation of Islam stores, right? Went to Nation of Islam restaurants. I had to deal with the devil at any level, right? And he had a lot of people, I didn't have any children at the time, but they would have went to the Nation of Islam schools. He had the whole infrastructure. Now you had a lot of, bro, if you go back and look at Savior Day 1974, look at it. And you see most of the people there are believers. Not like Farrakhan, he brings all these lost founds and everything to his meetings. Most all the believers, FY, MGT. And you have people, I was there, people outside, or I mean, it was overflowing. Not this crap that he pulled last Savior, so-called Savior Day. He don't even call it Saviors anymore. He calls it Saviors Day, it's plural. Boy, that was pathetic. Anyway, so a lot of those people, a large percentage of them, was in the same situation I was in. A lot of them was felons. A lot of them had businesses that depend on the Nation of Islam followers. I mean, Nation of Islam members. All that was gone. They lost everything overnight. And then the felons, right? They lost their families. They lost their jobs. A lot of them had to go back to prison. But a lot of them got out of prison because of the Nation of Islam, because Nation of Islam offered them jobs and things that they wasn't going to get out there in Katie's world. They wasn't going to get that out there. They wasn't going to get that. See? So a lot of them back in prison. I know some, when I had the third shift, the brother had the first shift, right? Brother's name was Sidney, right? He was a felon out of California, right? About a year or so later, I heard, he got stabbed to death out there hanging out. See? Because even when Farrakhan came back on the scene, we're going to talk about that in a minute, he didn't put anything back together. So thousands of people lost their livelihoods, lost their lives back in prison and so forth, so on. He doesn't talk about that. He ruined, he's talking, oh, I'm doing, well, hey, he's ruined more followers of Elijah Muhammad than he claims he's saving with his Scientology and everything. So, okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. So now we're at 1977. This is when Farrakhan returns. So it says there'll be a great falling away first. So he tries to change it. Says, well, no, the man of sin are the Jews. See, and I'm revealing them. So now they're people falling away from them. That's not what it says. It makes it very clear. It said, be not deceived. He said the falling away will come first. Then the man of sin will be revealed. Singular. See, he's trying to pass off someone else. It's about him. See, he's the man of sin that came on the scene after Elijah Muhammad left, right? A couple of years after Elijah Muhammad left, 1977, right? See, after the falling away, then he would be revealed. See. Now, one interesting thing I'm going to say here is that if you go and read about Elijah, okay, he's called Elias. See, Farrakhan Aaron's called Elias. He's Elijah Muhammad's. He's Elijah's, his top minister, spokesman or whatever, right? And so at that time, when Elijah departs, he says to Elias, he says, what can I do, you understand, what can I do for you, you understand, as I'm departing? And Elias says, well, can you give me a double portion of spirit? And if you looked there before, see, Elijah had 2 portions of spirit. Remember, because the original nations was called 7 spirits, also called the 7 eyes. That's very important, 7 eyes and 7 spirits. Keep that in mind, 7 eyes and 7 spirits. So he said, he says, I want a double portion of spirits. He wanted the same thing Elijah had. He wanted those the same. He said, okay. Elijah said, okay, and that was conditional. He said, if you see me when I depart, right, when I depart and go up to the mountain, back with the Farah, right? If you witness that with your own eyes, right, then if you witness that with your own eyes, okay, you will get what you want. You ask for it. You know what you want. And so when you see when Farrakhan goes up, as I just showed you, right, he goes up, right? When Elijah goes up, he covers Farrakhan. Remember, the other ones represents eyes, so he covered his eye. And the first thing comes out of his mouth, you read it. Yes, why he say that? Where's the God of Elijah? Why he say that? Because he can't see him now. That's angel language. So he doesn't get what he wants. And he turns hypocrite. And Elijah was also a musician. So brothers and sisters, it's all there. Okay, so now the son of perdition is revealed. And it says that he was set in the temple. It says temple, don't say mosque, don't say church, say simple temple. That means Elijah's temple, and declare himself as God. So we see that in a minute. I'm a young God. So I guess that's photoshopped, right? So that's what it said. He said in the temple, declare itself, right, above all that's called God. Who's called God here, right? Only people it's called God that we understand is Satan. He's called the God of age, right? And Farad. So he's above them declaring himself a God. Says he declares himself above all that's called God. That's what it's talking about, angel language, right? So he would reign for 42 years. That means 2019 would be his last year. That means he's through this year. He won't get past this year, right? See, so that's what that means. Okay, so that's son of perdition. He's son of perdition. He's Aaron. Remember, Aaron came after Elijah. He screwed up everything. He had to be worshiping the golden calf and everything else. And what happened, right? See, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll get back to that. Now I want to talk about these witnesses. Now I didn't mention that when I talked about 1948. In 1948, that said witnesses, right, which are the Shia, they were witness 42 years. 42 years, right? Starting in 1948. That would take them up to 1990. See, they're the witnesses against false Israel. Okay, so we're at 1990 now. In 1990, that's when Saddam Hussein went into Kuwait, and so in 1991, I mean, they started preparing for war, and actually, the war actually started in the kinetic war started in 1991, where America, false Israel, and Britain moved into the Middle East. That's what you see here in the bottom right here. You see witnesses, they're at the top. Now, those of you who understand the angel, right? You got, I show Obama there. I'm not going to talk about him right now, but I'm leaving there. That would be the lion, right? And so you had a lion, then you had as House of Saudi, but that's the calf, right? And then you got, right, the face of a man. Then you got the flying eagle, which is Satan, okay? See? So the witnesses, the top two wings are the Muslim part of that nation. So they're usually golden, right? Because gold represents the original nation, also represents Islam. So the witnesses are the Muslim part, the witnesses are the Shia. They're the Muslim part of the Caucasian nation. See, they're not Caucasian, right? They're like Farad, right? See, they original on their father's side, Caucasian on their mother's side. See, half original, if you will. Okay, they're like Farad. Okay, so here they are in 1990, just before the war starts. Okay, now we're going to walk through this, right? And this 1990, 1991 war actually, the kinetic war actually starts, right? They're in They're the dominant forces in the Middle East at the time. That's Syria and Iran, right? But now America, falls Israel, and Britain is getting ready to move into the Middle East, which will supersede their power. Okay, here, right there in this position now, and the angel says, for 42 years they would be in the top position. Then they've been in this position for 24 years. Where you get 24 from? Because it says 3.5 days. No, it said 3 days and a half. So you assume that's half day. No. You have to understand how the angel works. Say 3 days and a half. Half of what? Half of the 42 months, which is 21 months. Right? See? Then 21 plus 3 is 24. That's the 24 years, which would take it from 1991 to 2015. So they would be here. They'd be in that position until 2015, right? Then between America, falls Israel, and Britain, and the U, and Eastern Europe and Western Europe. See, so they've been in contention with all of them during that period of time, from 1991, right, to 2015. That's where 3 days and a half come from. 3 days, three plus half of what? 24. I mean, half of 42 is 21. That's 24. So that puts you in 2000 up to 2015, right? Which is 2015 was in that period of time, right, where they made this agreement, where Obama made this agreement with them on this nuclear agreement. So we can talk about that in a minute. Okay, here we're going to reiterate, right? They're in that position, which they will be for 24 years, 1991 to 2015, right? As a result of America forced Israel and Britain moving into the Middle East in 1990. See, and the witness was cast down. So their power was superseded. So the power brokers in the Middle East during this period of time would be America, false Israel, and Britain. So let's now close attention now. That the first position, they was there for 42 years. They was in that position for 42 years, stationary. They was there for 42 years. This position, they would be here for 24 years. Been in that position for 24 years. That's to be 24 years. They was there. That's how long they would be there. Okay, so let's move on. Now something is about to happen, right? It talks about there being an foot of the nations, right, for 42 months. So we see all these nations here. We have the top nation there, right, which was the calf. We see Obama's picture there. And next would be the top would be the lion, the second would be the calf, then the face of man, right? So they'd be on the bottom. That means the foot of all the nations. They'd be on the bottom, right? And they say they'd be there, right, for 42 months, which would be 3.5 years, right? So that means, and we're going to see in a minute, that would take you from 2015 to 2018 plus 6 months. Now, in this scenario, the months start in March. The year starts in March, the 21st. The first day of spring is the first day of the year. That's been universal until KB came along and changed it. The calendar you have right now is their calendar. Universally, the first day of spring was recognized as the first day of the year. That's biblical also, except in certain situations which, when you study, you understand what they're doing. But so that would mean that the 6 months, right, would not be June. It'd be March, April, May, June, July, August, right? See, am I saying that right? March, April, May, June, July, August, right? So they would be in that. It says they would be. We said in a second, right? That they would take and they would be under the foot of nations. So what do you mean under the foot of nations? Well, who represents the nations? The UN. Right. So let's go and look at that. Now remember, first position, they was there for 42 years. This position, they would be there for 24 years. This right here, right? See. Now they're under the foot of the nation. That's what that means. See. They be cast down at the foot of the nations. That's UN. That's the agreement, right? They were under UN control, UN supervision, right? UN inspections. That's the agreement was made, right? See? And so they would be there for 42 months. See? Which is what? That's 3.5 years. Okay, so let's add this up now. 1948 to 2000 to 1990, that's 42 years. Then they would be there for 24 years. That puts you to 2015, right? Because 1991, right, to 2015, right? And then 2015, right, the agreement was made, and then they would be down there, right, for 42 months, right? So it's 3.5 years. So that'd be 2015 to 2018, right, in 6 months. They've been in that position to 2018, right, in 6 months starting from March. That's the situation they'll be in. See? Then what would happen then? Okay, we're going the timeline here. What happened then? That's when Trump abrogated the agreement. He pulled out. See? So they wasn't under. They wasn't under. They didn't feel themselves obligations to that agreement anymore because the main person had pulled out. The main party had pulled out. So the agreement was no longer respected. This happened in 2018, just like it says. Okay, that's how you got the 42 months. 42 months is 3.5 years. Okay. So here we see, as I said, right, they'll be under authority of UN, right, for 3.5 years, 2015 to 2018, right, and 6 months starting from March. Now we're going to talk about this win. You see, because it says that there's another 3.5 there. This is a different 3.5, right? This comes out of 24 also. But that, in this case, not 24 years, it's 24 months, which is 2 years, right? But they're not in that position you see right there for 2 years. It says it took 2 years to get to that position. We'll see that in a minute. It took 2 years to get to that position. That's a whole different situation than that before. Before it says 42 years in that one position, right? 24 years in another position, right? 3.5 years in another position. But this, it doesn't say that they would be there, right, for uh, 2 years in this position. It doesn't say that. It said it took them 2 years to get to that position. That's movement. That's velocity, right? That's the wind they're talking about because they're moving. See, anything moves produce a wind, produce a breeze. That's the wind they're talking about because they was under this, but now they moved up, right? So that would take them to 2000, right? And 2000, 2020, right? October, because it says after that 24, that 20, after that 24, after that 2 years, after, right? The Spirit of God came to them. See, who's the Spirit of God? See, Satan, that's a God. Under his spell, you see blood dip. Under that would be one of the demons. He's one of the spirits. So that means now they're covering that. Also, it'd be during this period of time that they would be plaguing, spreading plagues. It says that they would spread plagues on the earth as often as they wish. They'd be doing this time they're spreading the plagues between 2000 to 2018 in 6 months to 2020 in 6 months. Okay. Now they're telling you that they found that the plague started much more earlier than they thought it was started. But it really hit America until 2016, according to the prophecy. But spreading all over the place, right? See. Okay. Now, another thing about this wind. That's the wind. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. But that's the wind, right? And so that's what was about this wind. So this wind is that boy about the war. If you read about this wind in chapter, and in the seals, 6th seal, right? It was this wind, right, that caused, that shook that fig tree. Satan, the false Israel, is recognized as the fig tree scripturally. Most people recognize that understand scripture at all. So their figs would be America and Britain. But it says this wind blew all of a sudden and caused the fig tree to throw its unripe figs. That means they was planning to do something, but the wind, right, blew before they could do it. You see? Because they was planning to do something. So we'll see what they plan to do in a minute. But that's understanding wind, because remember, they wasn't in that position. It took them 2 years to get to that position they are. That means this movement is different than the other ones. So that's the wind talking about. That's not the four winds. That's different. This the wind. See, this is about to happen. No, well, no, not backwards. It's that too quick. This is happening, but the wind is not finished. See, this is the first part of the wind. See, because wind blew, right, and then the shaking came. Okay. So here we are now, right? The wind's about to blow. They finishing up their 42 months, 3.5 years under feet of the nations, right? See, so now the wind is about to blow. That means wind will start blowing in 2018 in 6 months, right? So, and now when the plagues will start, okay? And see, under Satan, that demon is also a spirit. Those the original nation also called seven spirits, right? Or seven eyes. So that says, and it said after the 2 years, right? The spirit of God came into that. Means now they're covering that. That means that's wind. The wind has been blowing for 2 years. The 2 years of the wind blowing, which puts you at 2020, right? October 2020. We'll put you there, right? Which means a plague is spreading, right? The weather hasn't started yet, but it's getting hot. See, it's getting very hot because wind blowing, right? It hasn't caused the fig trees to blow you. You know, it hasn't caused the fig trees to the figs to be cast yet. But it's, you know, it's blowing hard, right? It gets you to 2020 around October. Okay. You have it. That's when the wind completes. There you have it there. That's when the wind completes. Now, right? See? Now that's the war. So now it's kicked false Israel, America, and Britain out of the Middle East. Right? That's the war in heaven. Michael and his angels, that's Fra and his angels, Shia, fought against the dragons, angels, dragons, is House of Sod, that's the Sunnis. Remember, because why? It's angel been saying, I've been saying this for angels ever since 1990 when Silver broke. Now you see it. Who would believe before that they would have an alliance between false Israel, the dragon, I mean the Sods, right? The Sunnis, Arab Sunnis, right? And Britain, the alliance. You see? Now you see it. Peace spring up. Says when they say peace, sudden destruction. So peace is probably breaking out in the Middle East. It says when they say it's peace, that's when destruction will come. So that's what see the scenario. All this piece of we see the climate like when you see you see this you see this cloud, you see it get dark, you see lightning. You know it's going to rain. All the things that Angel is telling you about is in place right now. And now you're even saying if you watch the internet and you listen to the news and everything, even these people are saying they're expecting a war with Iran anytime now. They say that's what Trump is setting up. They say Israel wants everybody, so there you go. So now they've kicked them out, right? So the wind's blown. Okay. Now if you read here, it says, pray that your flight. What's this flight? See, this flight is when the four winds blow. It results about what's about to happen. It says, and we mention here because we need you to understand about this period of time. It says, pray that your flight would not be in the winter or on the Sabbath. Well, the winter starts in December 21st, which is almost here, right? But the Sabbath is not the Sabbath day, like Sunday or whatever, or Saturday. It's the seventh month, which from March would be September. So it's telling you, right? Pray that doesn't happen, right? That will happen. That what's actually saying is that happens after September, right? But before December 21st. See? Your flight. In other words, right? Because it says it's going to be a time of trouble, right? Such as never was before. Right? So this is when the four winds blow. We're going to talk about that in a minute. See? So that's why you understand the time period. That's why we're in the time period right. That's why I'm focused on this, because we're in a time period right now. That's what's talked about. Some of that time period right now, right? So in other words, they praying. Another way of saying it, praise your flight, right, will be sometime in October, November, or before the 21st of December. Okay? Okay, a couple of things here. First of all, I talk about these plagues. I'm going to bring it up before we go any further here. It says, if you read Exodus, it talks about these plagues. It says, I will send one more plague, and the purpose of this plague was to drive you out. It's going to make what do you mean drive you out? Drive you out altogether. They say just drive out, drive it altogether. What does that mean? Does that mean, okay, make them leave the land or kill you? Why do you have to add altogether? See, that's the underscore. No, to get rid of you, because we'll see it in a minute. But that's what Pharaoh actually he comes after to kill you. So drive you out altogether. Now is the purpose of this plague to drive you all together. It says the plague is coming from God. And it said if we study angel, it said the Shia is the one spreading this plague. And it's coming from Farad, right? And it should come in 2020, right? Hit America, because from 1619 to 2019 is the 40 year. Then the plague will come in 2020. Will kill the firstborn. That means the most elderly. That's what's killing. But it will pass over, right? Those who had the lamb's blood on their door. So in other words, it will pass over those associated with blood and door. See? So if you was associated with that, then it would pass over you. So that's why you need to understand this very clearly, because now it's not actually showing that clearly right here, but see the door on top there, okay, the door represents the original nation seed of Abraham, okay, that's the door. See, those are the doors symbolically, right? But the blood also represents the African nations. See, you see blood, I got door and blood on one, so that's why I have like that, so you connect the two. So door and blood. So those are the ones it will pass over. And that's exactly what's happening. It's virtually not affecting Africa at all. It's not affecting them at all. Them countries in Africa have no symptoms whatsoever. And they're not social distancing, not wearing masks or anything. But they got the same DNA we have. So why are they telling us we die disproportionately here when in Africa it's not happening at all? They're not wearing masks or any of that stuff. Because somebody's lying. See? Okay. Hope you understand that. But said, these are the days of vengeance. See? See? It says a time has never been before. So this is unprecedented trouble. Time of unprecedented trouble. Days of why vengeance? Who was being wrong? That's us. See? So who is God? God says, vengeance is mine. So he's taking vengeance upon them. See, it says all things written will be fulfilled. What has that been telling you? It says, what does that mean? That means the Abrahamic covenant is what everything revolves around. So everything will be fulfilled now because that's the fulfillment of the covenant. It says that's what everything everything is related to Abrahamic covenant. Okay? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So the doors represents Abraham's seed. That means it passed over us. I'm 71 and I don't wear a mask and I'm not worried about it whatsoever. Right? It passed over us. They won't tell you that. They understand the scripture. They understand this. They understand Exodus. Right? False Israel understand the Exodus. They from the time they conceived, they've been taught it. So they know exactly what's going on. They're not going to tell you. Okay, brothers and sisters. But it says this. Remember, this time everything will be filled, because it says all scriptures written will be filled, because this is time of fulfillment of Abrahamic covenant, and all the scriptures in the Old Testament and so the New Testament is surrounding Abrahamic covenant. Okay. Days of vengeance again. Now, when it says woe to those who are pregnant, those who are nursing babies, what does that mean? It sounds See, if and people read the Bible, they just take it for face value. That's why you have to understand the angel. Without the angel, you read something and you have no idea what it's talking about. But what they're talking about here is they're trying to kill you. This is the purpose that's what it's saying. See the blinking there? That's what it means, those who are pregnant. Because now they have something under them. They don't always have something under them. They're the ones that are pregnant, right? Why are they pregnant? Because they're attacking us, all black people, not just the original people, right? They're attacking all black people. That was their plan. See, what was interrupted by the winds. See, because first they was going to do this before the winds blew. If you understand Adam and Eve, that's a story because they first ate a fruit. See that those Levites and the they represent the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they ate it before they covered themselves. The witness saw the sackcloth because in chapter 11, the witness also called sackcloth. Sackcloth covers it. See, that was a plan they had, but they was preempted because the witnesses went because what it's telling you right now is. If you understand this, and this war is about to take place, that means right now they have a plan in place right now to get rid of you. They're executing that plan right now to get rid of you. Right now, something they're doing right now is designed to get rid of you. Now, what do you think that might be? Because this, remember, it's connected to the plague. Because it says that plague will cause them, right, to drive you out altogether. Connect to the plague. You need to understand, brothers and sisters, what's going on here. See? So we're in this time period right now, and they're doing something right now that's designed to get rid of you, but before they actually execute it, because right now, what's going on right now? They're telling you, hey, suddenly they got this vaccine. They want to push it real fast. And the vaccine, this plague was originally designed to get rid of you, us, and Africa, which it backfires, getting everybody except us. That's who it's really designed to do. But it backfired. And now they got a new version, right? A new version, right? A mutated version is doing just the opposite. As everything backfires. So they have plan in motion right now to get rid of you. So they want to get rid of us through Africa because the topsoil in America is almost virtually gone. That's why they came here to begin with, because they ruined all the topsoil in Europe and in Ireland. Ireland was a blight. They couldn't grow anything because you need topsoil. You just can't put something in the ground. You need topsoil. They used it all up. They abused the land. Now they've used up all the topsoil in America, right? They got little left. That's why we want you. You want 6 states reparations. See, these liars and fools, they only talk about because if you got them, you got much land, you got enough topsoil maybe to grow maybe 10 years more at the best. So what you gonna do after that? Then you got a desert, you got nothing. Then what you gonna do then? What you gonna beg for then? See, that's why we want to take Africa, because Africa is still rich in topsoil. A lot of that topsoil that you buying from Home Depot and everything's come from Africa. That's a whole other story. See, they're raping the land over there and bring that over here, you understand, so they can still plant. That's why a lot of African countries are going having famines and stuff, because they send the topsoil. They got these weak leaders over there. They either blackmail or whatever. They take this topsoil and bring it over here. That's what's going on right there, brothers and sisters. Why this is so important, what I'm trying to get to you today. Because all this going to happen is sudden. See, they said it will come as a snare. They got a snare prepared for you. They said they're going to do it in a way you won't see it. We deal shrewdly with them. See? Hey, brothers and sisters. Now we're still talking about Exodus. Now we're going to look at it from another point of view where, right? Okay. Remember it says they would drive it all together. So now, what does that mean? We go in and look at Exodus, and we see what? Pharaoh lets people go, but he changed his mind. He can't. He wants to keep. He wants to keep them. See, he needs us. for our creativity, right? But if he can't control us, he needs to get rid of us. He can't let us go. He can't let us go, right? Because we go, we take the creativity with us, and then we might turn back on them. See? So he's schizoid. Well, I need to keep him, but I can't let him go. See? That's what's going on here. See? So understand these symbols here. If you understand, you read earlier in the angel, there's a crystal sea and there's a regular sea. The crystal sea is that Red Sea. The black ones, the red ones there, they also called the sea. They also sea also. Okay? So it says that they take, right? And they want to flee. See, because now they're being attacked. See? In other words, when the war, once this war starts, it's going to start before they have a chance to execute their plan. So once the war starts, now America's remember they said they was afraid if there's a war, right? War breaks out that you turn against and fight against them. That's the idea they had about the Japanese in World War II. So you got two things going on here. First, they was planning to get rid of you before the war, right? But now the war came, preempted them, caught them unawares before they was completely ready, right? Because it said the unripe figs, the figs wasn't ripe yet, wasn't ready yet. So before they could carry it out, bam, the wind hit them. That war starts all the other wars. That's the one, the sign, son of man in heavens. That's the main one. So that war takes and kicks off Armageddon, right? So you see, in that war, America is now at war in Europe against Russia and in the EU with their former friends. They also at war with China and India. You see, war with China is always building. They say right now, China's a major threat. Now, all these things, the India was talking about, all these things are in place right now. All these things the India's talking about. And I've been talking this for years, for over 30 years now. Anybody's been following, I've been following what I've been saying. I've been telling this thing for years. I got information to prove it. And now all these things come into focus at one time. Right now. See? So that's where we are right now. So they're at war. And so at that point, right, they know they have to get rid of us. Like that Japanese, they put them in a concentration camp. They know they got to get rid of us now because now they're actually at war. See? So now they're not preparing to do what they were saying because they was preparing, they was almost ready, but the war started, right? Michael's angels, right? Preempt. That's why as those days will be short, no soul be left alive. Why do you say those days be short, no soul be left alive? For the elect's sake, they tell you because if he hadn't short it, the elect would have been killed too. They was gonna kill all of us. But I said no soul be left alive. But for the elect's sake, that means that's telling you the subject is that they was gonna kill us all. But those days had to be short. That means he had to attack them, right? That wind had taken, start the war, kick them out of the Middle East, and that you know, and that slowed them down, right? See, for a second, but not much, because now they want, but they're more intense now. See, because now they're at war. Because remember before they was doing it because they was afraid we would be at war, but now they're at war. Now they're actually at war. So now you know they got to take us out. See, okay. So according to Exodus, right? They go. Remember, because in Exodus, a wind came up first. That's that war. A wind came up first, right? When Pharaoh was chasing, right? Coming after the children of Israel with his army. He wasn't coming to capture us. He's coming to take us out. And the wind came up first. That's the wind. Now read this thing carefully, right? That's the wind came up first. Okay? Now the children of Israel, we find ourselves between the sea and Pharaoh's armies. And so Elijah or Moses had to take and separate, right? Right. He blew a wind against the four winds against the sea, separate the sea, so the children of Israel could go across the sea, right? on dry land. So now you see here, remember I told you the red also see, so now they're going, so it's dry land, there's no war there. That space right there is no war there, that's dry land. See? And it says the children of Israel, they will go across, and it said there'd be a sea on both sides of them, as a wall on both sides of them. You see, as they go right the middle, there's water, sea, river, everything on both sides of them. That's what it's talking about. Why would they say that? Because it said the sea, the river, the waters will be on both sides of them as they go up to the dry land. What it's talking about. It's on all blacks now, because remember the separation take place until after they got out of Egypt. So now all passed through. Now they went through on dry land, and the rivers on both, there's a wall of sea on both sides of them now. That's what happens, right? Now, and then the sea, what? It drowned Pharaoh's army. See, now they drowned. See, it's separated for them to go to the dry land, but it drowned Pharaoh's armies. That's angel language. It's right there, brothers and sisters. That's what that's talking about there. See? So this is where they cross out and they get out of Egypt, right? See? And according to Exodus, right? All the blacks come together. It's not the harvest yet. Demons everywhere, all blacks. Because they was going to kill all. But see, the thing is that the demons, right? They still want to be with Massa. Only reason they ran because Massa's going to kill them too. See, and they still trying to negotiate with Massa. Massa, we ain't going to kill you. We loyal to you. We love you. We're your children. And if Massa, if they had convinced them that he wouldn't, they would have turned back. They would turn on us. See, Massa wouldn't take any chances. I'm getting rid of all. Man, I ain't taking no chances. I ain't taking no chances. I'm getting rid of all y'all. I ain't taking no chances. See what happens? See, understand that? See? So they were still loyal because if you read the demon-possessed man, right? They said, please don't make me the other, because that's Farrakhan, Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, the NY backwards. He's the one speaking for the demon-possessed man. Says, please don't make me lead a country when Jesus confronted Jesus, Joshua, Suleiman. Please don't make me lead a country. He wants to stay here with the master, the swine devil's master. He wants to stay here. See? So Jesus said, okay. He called them out, right? And then he said, okay, you can go back to swine daddies. So they went back to their swine daddies, and they got to fight with each other and run up the cliff together. See? So let's see what happens. Okay, we see here in Exodus, remember, when Moses returns after being gone for 40 years, about 40 years, right? He returns. He gets them worshiping the golden calf. Okay, and he got them worshiping the golden calf, and he takes Aaron and his followers, right? And he separates them out, right? And he slaughters all the Farrakhan's followers, all of Aaron's followers, right? It says 3,000. And it was then the angel note each one of these represents 1,000. They go 3,000. They're cast down back to their daddies. The swine dad. That's where they're cast down, and they're replaced by, right, by the witnesses. See? Now Levites, they're the one that slaughtered them. Remember I said they're going to be, the nation of Islam is going to be turned out from within. The Levites are the nation of Islam, set up by Elijah Muhammad, right? The elect on top there, that's Lazarus. That's the one that Suleiman will raise. Elijah Muhammad raised the Levites, right? But Suleiman will raise Lazarus. See? So once they were cast, once they were separated, that was the demon-possessed man in the Y. Once the demons were separated from him, then he got his mind back, but he wasn't allowed to be, he wasn't allowed. See, that's the ark there, and he's still in the waters. Waters where all the trouble is. He's still going to tribulation because he wasn't allowed to be delivered. Because the Levites, the nation of Islam, their purpose, remember says, Elijah says, first he said the messenger of the covenant will come to his temple. That means there's another messenger after him. They ain't nobody, well, we don't worry about that, just read it, right? And he says, they were supposed to prepare a way for Suleiman or Joshua, but they didn't do that. Instead of preparing a way, they were supposed to build a bridge between Elijah Superman, so Superman came because he prepared away before him, right? The master of the covenant that comes to the temple, they prepared away. They did it. They built mansions for Farrakhan instead. So now they got to be consequence. They got to go to consequence. They got to go to tribulation. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's see. Okay, sisters and brothers, that pretty much wraps it up. I took you from one end of Exodus to the other to the time of deliverance, right? To return home. Once we return home, that's another job altogether because that's when Joshua goes to war. Because Pharaoh's already cleaned out the Middle East at that point, right? The war in the Middle East, he's knocked out the dragon, falls Israel, America kicked him out, right? So now he has possession of the Middle East. He's out the authorities, House of Hoss, House of Saud, they're all kicked out. See? But the people are still there. They're just suing. And they say to Ishmael, they say, all that belongs to them, which it does, it belongs to us. And they're not giving it up. So we have to go to war with them. We have to go to war with them. See? To clean out the land. That's what it's all about. See? That's Exodus. We have to go ask Joshua and his armies, right? Because it says when the four winds blew, right? Mighty army, right? So we go to war with them, led by Joshua. Joshua will be the general on the ground. Pharaoh will be the God in the sky. Read it, Exodus. He protect us by in the, in the sky, and Joshua was the general on the ground. That's the high priest and the God. And Joshua fights all the way to take control of the promised land. While that's happening, the whole world will be in turmoil. See, that's America would be destroyed by China and India. See, death and hate. And why do you think they call China death? Because they're talking about their death and hell. That's what America's about to inherit. Death and hell. See, and they will be taken into captivity. It says those who lead the captivity will go into captivity. We have, what's the other word? What they use it? They say, as you have done, so it should be done to you. All things did to us going to happen to them. Within days, America's going to be invaded. We're going to be out of here. Be invaded by China and India. There's a lot more I can tell you about that, but I'm not right here. See? How the NOI will escape. But they will invade, take over the country. See? They're going to slaughter about everybody they can. Not showing any mercy at all. Those able-bodied and healthy, they're going to take into captivity and never coming out. See? They're going to take down all of Europe. See? China and India will be together, and a confederation of African non-Islamic African states will be with them. That's to be led by Obama. It says he went for a conquering and conquer. He's that first. He's the person on the white horse in first seal. His first conquest was President of the United States. Next conquest will be the leaders of non-Islamic African Confederation. And he will be with them, chapter 17. So he'll be alongside. He'll be the dragon, the beast, and he'll be alongside. They will take down America. See? Then after they take down America, take down Europe, right? They don't get to fight with each other. It says Obama's going to be the winner of that. He's going to have control of China, India, all that. And he had control of the whole world except for us in the Middle East. And it says at that point in time, they're going to look and say, here's the people at peace with no walls or anything surrounding them. It's secure. And they're going to attack us. That's the final battle. That's the final battle. It said it takes 6 months to bury the dead. That's the final battle. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. I'm trying to bring up to date where we are right now. And when you go back there, go look at the point where it says, right, where the four winds blow, right, where they're preparing something right now. It'll be between now, and it began in the end of 21st of December. That's where we are right now. Thank you, brothers and sisters.